actually start streaming. Wow. Alrighty. I might have forgot to actually start streaming. Whoops. Give me a little bit of time to clear my throat. It's good. But that's a 30-40 minutes there. Yeah, I'll be cleaning stuff up mostly. A lot to clean. Gonna put in some of these textures. I'll be working on mostly the dwarf and the halfling today, but I saw some things I wanted to change in the main characters as well. Moving her hand over here somewhere. A bit more natural. Also make it a less important detail. I'm not completely sure where I want to put it. or even how to calculate it, to be honest, behind her. I feel like it's something like that. Yeah, it's super here. But yeah, a little under the weather, so sorry if it's gonna be a boring stream. Definitely coughing a lot. Yesterday was much worse. Still have some time to finish the furry piece, I think. I don't think I'm running out of time this time. But I should probably get on that. Yeah, I think this guy's face and the dwarf need the most love right now. Yeah, most of these weird rendering errors probably won't show up. Zoom out a little bit. I like sick, I like sick time because that's usually when I take a break, like a hard break from even, even taking a look at like social media. So I have no idea what's going on in the world right now. And nothing of value is lost. I did take a look before I got sick, though. There's a Magic the Gathering artist that's being like removed. I don't know, she's got good stuff. Apparently she liked some tweets. Which is a high crime. Really interesting how people will do all this free detective work. It's like they have nothing to do at all. They just sift through Twitters and find, something questionable. And it's so like low-hanging fruit usually. It's like, oh my god, you like the tweet, whoa. Amazing. I guess we have to kick her out of Magic now. Wow. It's kind of sad. I heard if you like one of my tweets, Hugo Boss will send you a fitted, tailored Nazi uniform. Yeah. Just another side of that, like now that everyone has access to this type of detective work, there's a lot of benefits. Of corporations could now, take a look and see if they can, maybe provide a small service, win your favor. It's funny how cheap we are. Like, for instance, Gillette sent me a what's it called, one of those razors for my I think 25th birthday or something. I don't even know how they got how they got the information. No idea. But yeah, I only have like Gillette products in my house for shaving. Extraordinarily cheap, you know. I actually what's it called, like other than the razor though, I usually just shave with the the electric trimmer, because those razors are expensive, and I don't know. I guess I shave when I'm going out to a party, but that's really rare. So one of those razors can last me like years. Yeah, most of the time I just use the cheap and easy. No, not at all. Well, a little bit. Actually, I'm feeling worse. It's kind of strange. I'm feeling worse right now, and I'm streaming. I don't know why I didn't stream when I was feeling like just a little sick. But yeah, how's it going, Nixie? Are you also under the weather, or is it clear skies in London? I actually like my sick voice a lot. It's kind of why I wanna stream a little bit. One guy on Rust said that I could probably get away with doing some ASMR as soon as I have a... Damn, you sound like shit. You're just jealous. You're just jealous of my silky smooth radio talk show host voice. Yeah. Don't get sick very often. That's pretty good. Me too, actually. I think I've gotten sick maybe twice this year, something like that. Yeah, but yeah, some guy said that I sound super chill, and yeah, pretty good. Yeah, how has it been without me? What have you done? Can't believe you've done this. I'm in the army. When I'm sick, I just ignore it. Huh. That's pretty good. Last time was about 6 years ago. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good record. I get sick about 4, maybe 6 times a year. Usually. Ran away. I bought a trip to the Caracas and disappeared off the internet. No, I'm still here. Small break coupled with the weekend break, because I had a lot of stuff to do. Had to go shopping. Big trip. We are full up on good stuff to eat though, so You want to give him a little haircut. And then also make his face a little fat. Spent the weekend playing Guild Wars. It was a nice break from working on my novels. Yeah, those MMORPGs, man, they get you hooked. Oh god. Playing with people is kind of fun though. I'm a big fan of multiplayer. 25, Norn Guardian. She's a tall, beautiful, redheaded lass. There's a lot to do in Guild Wars. Pretty good story. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan. I'm gonna close up his mouth here. Just open it. There. I'm enjoying this class since I can swap between a badass hammer wielding or staff wielding healer. I love this game's flexibility. Well, if you were a good guardian, you'd be using Mason Shield. No, kidding. Mason Shield is probably my favorite for guardian. My favorite weapon set. It's interesting how they've done weapon sets actually. If you switch to a different weapon, it's almost like you have a whole different kit. And so each class has a couple kits they can bring to PvP, and you can bring 2 of them at a time. Plus your utilities, of course. Don't swap. And your elite skill. Mason Shield probably really good. Maybe. Yeah, there's a lot of I like the build flexibility in the game because you can actually build something that's interesting. Various interesting what's called builds within the class. You can usually have up to, I don't know, 4 viable builds maybe. Mesmer and Engineer are my favorite classes too. They're probably the most difficult to play classes though. They require a lot of. They're more like an advanced version of classes. They're not like, crazy hard or anything, but when you compare it to like the Warrior, something, it's definitely a lot harder. Warrior is very, very, very effective with almost no knowledge of how to play it. Elementalist is also like one of the easier ones. bought the game and paid for it. It comes with 2 max level boosts. Oh wow, that's interesting. We used to collect little experience tomes, you know, and then we'd have like a bunch of classes to 80, or was it 60? I don't remember. Hey, Leica, what's up, dude? How's it going? Nice work on the cover. I'm liking the increase in detailing. Awesome. Yeah, I hope it comes out good. Still have some stuff I wanna hit. Yeah, I think this one's coming out a little bit better than the previous one. Maybe I'm just more comfortable with bodies than portraits. Being protected. Sending out our target station. Awesome. Sounds good. I am just a little bit sick, but otherwise I am doing pretty good. Pretty good. A lot of good memes. A lot of good memes. A lot of good clown memes. Keeping me entertained. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of memes, I think. Probably like my second or third favorite you know, way of communicating jokes. Once I get the next Bruce, then you pick to see how much the light change the cover. All right, yeah, cool. Looking forward to it, dude. Hopefully we don't need to do a third proof, but you know, that's always on the table. Plus, you get I don't know if do you pay for proofs? Might be able to hand out some what's it called? Some free books to friends and relatives. Just declared the new Pepe clown meme was the biggest racist meme ever. I don't know how much of this is satire. Honk honk. I feel like there's it's a lot of just parody, I think. It's a lot of parody, I think, at this point, where you just there's a good way to get clicks, and so what's it called? Oh, they cost about $8 each. Sorry, my dude. Sorry about that. Hopefully I don't fuck up the next proof, and then you don't need to. Yeah, the racist clown meme has been around for like 3 months now, apparently. It started out with just a clown sitting at his computer. I love that image. That's probably one of my favorite meme images of all time right now. Let me show you what I'm talking about, guys. It's like, I think Jim is about to put out a video on the clowns. To be honest, I'm pretty excited about that. I'm guessing Sunday. His release schedule is usually on Sunday if he's not gonna do a stream. Oh God, I'm dying. Oh no, they're killing me. I'm not even sure you can assign it, you know, the blame for, you know, I like it's not even I don't even know if it's like a certain group of people. It's just like it just takes like one retard with a platform to basically publish something like this, and it's just like what was his name? Oh yeah, let me see. Mr. Anti-Bully. Stop bullying. Hashtag. Paul Joseph Watson. See, the thing is that Jim is actually smart. Whereas, and you can tell he's smart because he makes pretty good comedy. Those two things are basically interlinked. Jim did just put out a what's it called a short video, but I don't know. Clown oppression is real. Yeah, there's a what's it called? Doubt it. Let me see if I can find you this image that I think started it all. This is from about a month ago. Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty short though. Jim needs to start like earning those Patreon shekels. It's yeah. Wait, there's so many clown memes now. I'm looking for a specific one so I can share it. God, I don't want to open this up on stream though, because like chances of getting banned increase exponentially. Ah, here it is. Here is this image. I think I posted this in Discord one time. This is a low res version of it, but I think this is what started it off, and yeah. Yeah, I from the shots, you know, you could tell that it's incredibly well made. Most of these movies have, like, you know, incredibly high budget, so you know it's expected. But you know, you can make a really bad movie, I think, with a high budget. But there's a couple of shots in here which I thought were pretty good, pretty artistic. You could do a study of them and actually gain a lot of knowledge. It's yeah, some of these shots from the trailer are just like, you know, the lighting setup is really good. The way they use lighting, the way that they have the shot set up, you know, it's a lot of story in one image. This one's not as good, but some of these shots, fantastic. I would say I was just watching for you know, amazing composition, right? That's what I'm always looking for in what's it called in these movies, or in these shots. And it's it's not only like amazing composition and lighting, but there's a lot of story going on here. Like the way they use this staircase, for instance, is pretty huge. You know, it's almost like the arc of the story. So they could like just that, you know, the simple parts of that, right? You just have this very simple storytelling. It's the same kind of staircase, but characters change, lighting has changed. It's more robust. Dumbass unknown movie about a transgender fish who converts to Islam. Yeah, I could see that happening. I mean, Roma lost. So, you know, if Roma lost, I feel like there's, you know, the Academy is incompetent, basically. So, I don't think they could. I don't think they could recognize good art if it hit them in the face. BH. Yeah, Roma lost what's it called? Best Oscar, best movie of the year, best cinematography. God, I want to watch that movie though. The Gay Transgender Fish. Oh man, is that Kanye? I'm a gay fish. I'm a gay fish. Actually, you're wrong. Islam is the most progressive ideology. There's tons of Wait, hold on. Let me Google this. What is it called? I am a transgender Muslim. I saw this article earlier. Yeah, there's enough of you know, this was the one dude, right? That became a woman, and yeah, still Islamist though. Doesn't make sense, right? Because Islam is, as you said, right, unaccepting to transgender individuals. So it's kind of strange, right? If I was this person, I probably wouldn't. Use the you know, that ethical framework. I think it would be in conflict with me as a person, right? It seems like that to me. Then again, you know, there was a very long time when Christianity was very critical of homosexuality. Then it came out that, you know, most Catholic priests are pedophiles, and they were just like, oh wait, hold on, we're doing this. Never mind, we were gay the whole time. So, there's definitely a change in culture. I'm not absolutely sure that Islam couldn't go through such a change. I know there's a lot of reformers within Islam. Like the other day, I watched a instructional video about how to beat your wife in a way that is not haram. Yeah, I believe that is a pretty progressive way of beating your wife. It was by what was his name? Imam. God. I think he what's it called? He releases a lot of what's it called? A lot of YouTube videos. How to beat your wife properly, I think it was called. Problem is, Islam isn't very centralized. That's true. Any imam could take up the Quran and say, well, you know, I believe this is the correct interpretation. Right? You even have it's actually kind of democratic, as long as you're not a woman, I think. There's ways of becoming an imam that are you basically get elected, something like that. I used to live in a Muslim majority country for for a couple months at a time. So. And my wife is from a Muslim majority country. Well, I mean, she's lived in Egypt for a little while. I'm against violence and stuff, but yeah, some stuff are like, what the fuck are they saying? Leica, are you from like a Western country? Not from uh, like, where are you now? My wife, my wife is from Egypt. She's lived in Egypt for a very, very large majority of her life. But you know, Egypt and Ukraine is where we're basically from. Like the Gillette commercial, supported by the Sissy Boys. Dab, soy, dab, soy. Well, a man's got to be a man, especially in the army. Yeah, I didn't really get the Gillette commercial. You know, I've bought a lot of Gillette products over the years. I think I'm up to like a couple razors and you know, the razor replacements for them. And it was just like kind of a big surprise to me that, you know, like they would kind of paint men in with such a broad brush. It was really strange. Also, you know, men can be better is not really, women can be better, you know, anyone can be better. Like, it's not a very thought out phrase, you know, like it's not a good way of saying anything other than, you know, like something really banal, you know. Yeah, I shave mostly with the trimmer. The thing I use to shave my head is the thing I use to shave my the rest of my facial hair at this point. It's kind of dangerous to talk about these topics since the progressive lefties have infiltrated the game dev scene. Yeah, I would say it's pretty dangerous to have any sort of political beliefs available on social media. I've read about a Magic the Gathering artist. I linked to her Twitter earlier in Discord. She apparently liked the tweet about Trump, and someone did the detective work and found it. I don't even know. I don't even know why, you know. Did they hate this person? Like, what? Maybe it popped up on, I get what's called tweets from people I follow, like sometimes so-and-so liked this tweet or something. Therese Nielsen, yeah, Therese Nielsen, yeah, that's exactly right. So she's being like removed. I feel like very slowly. They're gonna. I feel like she's gonna get yeeted real quick. There was a lot of tweets sent to her that were nothing short of toxic. You know, they were just like, remove this person. She's terrible. She's you know, the worst. The worst in much stronger language, since, you know, we are on Twitch, so. Yeah, I don't think that I don't think you need this sort of like Twitter police. I think this is all super extra. Oh, was it just Hannity? Wow. Yeah, she has really good work. I looked through it. She has pretty good work, and you know, I feel like Magic the Gathering should hold on to. It kind of reminds me of James Gunn, you know. Same situation, basically. You know, it's very dangerous. I feel like, you know, you shouldn't even like tweets, I guess. I don't even know. Maybe have a separate account for liking tweets, I guess, because that's kind of where we are right now. Yeah, it's kind of a shame, but it seems like they want to kind of force this sort of thing, where you have a lot of people that will just kind of go underground, and it's not even like anything that's controversial. Like you literally can't say that, you know, like, well, I don't think this thing is good or whatever. All right, I think this is bad, or it's getting to that point. Like if you say like, oh, I like borders, it's like you're a racist. I don't understand how we got that far. So yeah, it's pretty strange. Or, you know, I don't think that 12-year-olds can decide that they want to you know, change their gender, you know, at 12 years old, even with the help of a psychiatrist. I feel like the psychiatrist is gonna be bullied. He has no way of you know, standing tall and saying, no, this is not the medically correct way of going forward, because he has a very high chance of losing his license, being sued for malpractice. Yeah, I don't think children should be able to decide these things. I think that's going over what's called. If you're like 18 and 25, you want to have an operation to I don't know, cut off your dick, fine, whatever, you do you. But kids are dumb. I know, because I talk to them, and they're not gonna be able to make these lifelong, life-changing decisions. It's silly. It's very silly, and pretending like everyone has an extreme form of, you know, gender dysphoria is also like not helpful at all. There's probably an individual out there that has this in a serious state where they it is kind of like being diagnosed with serious depression, something like that. It's like you can't just, you know, hand wave it away. But all of these people just out of nowhere, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem to match up with the reality of the statistics. Like, and so yeah. I think if you gave medical professionals autonomy in these matters, because I don't think they do have it. I think they're very easy to bully, and you can see this in other ways. Because, for instance, here's another little anecdote, I guess. Not really an anecdote, but more like what actually happens in the hospitals of America. Why do we have a epidemic of opioid abuse? One of the reasons is if your doctor doesn't give you opioids, you can complain about them. You can fill out a complaint form and say like, oh, this guy is racist. He didn't give me morphine. I believe it's because of my skin color. And it's like, wait, but this is a black majority hospital, and the doctor is black, and like all the patients that he sees that do get the medication are black. So why is it that? But this could actually work. The what's it called? The insurance company can be used to bully physicians. Because they'll bully the hospital, and the hospital will bully what's it called? The medical professional. It's pretty interesting how that works. James Gunn is a pretty talented director, I would say. You know, I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Yeah, it was pretty good. I don't know how much of that is, you know, just because of the comics, because I didn't read the comics. But it was a pretty good story. I liked the acting, the cinematography, and the what's it called? What's it called? Yeah, I haven't read the comics enough to know how much of it was, you know, like already predetermined. So, like, for me, it was a new experience, and I pretty much enjoyed it, like wholesale. I have really nothing bad to say about Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, only good things. Like the music and stuff was very well picked out and stuff like that. So, a lot of good things. Yeah, I don't even know what James Gunn's politics are, to be honest. I just know that he was not a conservative, and he got yeeted. He got dabbed on pretty hard. Roseanne Barr got shafted too, but who cares? Because she's right wing though. I think Roseanne Barr is one of those people that has smoked themselves retarded. This is like a meme usually, where you could literally smoke enough weed to kind of lower your IQ. But if she was on Rubin Report. You know, Rubin loves to get some pandering in. What's it called? But yeah, if you listen to her, she is not what I would call lucid at all times. she's kind of a crazy grandma, just a little insane. I know that she got railroaded for a tweet that like wasn't a racist in itself, but could be misconstrued as being racist, and that kind of is like, man, I think the context matters here, and the context being that woman's face, and yeah. Some people look like what's it called? Like Joe Rogan looks like a monkey to me. He looks like a chimp. Am I gonna get yeeted for saying Joe Rogan looks like a chimpanzee? Because he literally looks like one of those. If you shave a chimpanzee, I feel like that's what Joe Rogan looks like. Am I gonna get yeeted for that? I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea to go around calling people monkeys. I think it's a bad idea. Especially if you have like a television show. You probably don't want to do that. But it's kind of like, okay. She called her a monkey. What is that? Does that mean that she gets, like, you want to punish her? She's got fuck you money, you know? You're punishing the cast and crew at that point. But yeah, it's kind of like a war on comedians. I think Roseanne Barr is definitely a comedian, even if she's unhinged, and I feel like she has smoked herself retarded. Um, and I think she's just another casualty in the comedy wars. Comedy wars. Who will be next? You decide. Hey, Fire Next, what's up, dude? How's it going? You can't breathe. Would you like to hear a video of a clown striking back at the furries for hating on her oh fuck dude, I don't even know its identity as a clown? The claters, they hate the clowns, and some of them are furries. Oh god. These memes are super deep. Let me see if I could find find this. There's a lot of people on YouTube that I find are getting past the I don't know, filter. Getting past the filter somehow. Let me see if I can.
I'm done with this shit. I will take clown oppression from a lot of fucking people, and I already fucking don't. You know, I'm fighting it, but I will not, under any circumstances, put up with this shit from a fucking fursuit wearing fucking weirdo.
You see, the clowns have the moral high ground against the furries, in her opinion. I don't know about that. I don't know what's cringier. Clowns? People who, is that for you? It's for everyone. It's for everybody. But there's this wait, let me see if I can just screen cap this image. Oh. When this comes at you, and she's like, "You guys are the weirdos. You guys are the weird ones." Like when this thing is talking down to you, it's like, you are the weird. I don't know. I can't make a distinction about which one is weirder. It's gonna be a difference without a distinction. This clown. Oh god, why? Why does this exist? God, I don't know. I feel like yeah, I shaved his head down a little bit. It's a little bit more not fat. I want to do his face too. Fire Onyx, you're not even a real furry. But would you take that from the clown people? Or are you gonna become a clater? I'm gonna become yeah, I wouldn't take it from the clowns either. I feel like they're lower on the totem pole. They're much more, there's much less clowns than furries. I feel like the furries are becoming more popular. There's so many. Won't get low on her level. Oh wow, okay. Taking the moral high ground. That's pretty smart. That's pretty smart actually. The cleaters. They hate the clowns. Clown oppression is real. I feel like that person has to be a 4chan op or some shit like that. It can't be real. No one could be that insane. No one could be that crazy. Then again, I don't know. I guess I'm deeply optimistic. Deeply optimistic. I feel like those clowns gotta go. I feel like those clowns, they gotta go. I'm on Team Furry for this one. I'm on Team Furry for sure. Oof, oof, oof. Grammatical trolling in my chat, please. Oh boy. You had a good point, but you made a grammatical mistake, so got him. Dab on him. No excuse for poor grammar. Sorry. But yeah, there's a lot of weird subgroups on the internet, and what I find funny is when they kind of find each other, and then they're just like, oh wow, I didn't know that my opinions were so mainstream. Actually, you know, like incels or Happas. Happas are also an interesting group on the internet. I feel like very oppressed. It's funny how diverse the furry groupings are. Actually, there's a lot of like, there's communist furries. There's like Nazi furries. There's it's just strange, Oh, because there really are a lot of furries right now. I feel like they're becoming accepted, and yeah, I would rather have because there's a lot of advocacy groups out there right now. I think furries are a lot less toxic than pedophiles, for instance. And there's like huge advocacy groups for pedos right now. I don't know how it got to be this way, but yeah, it's a thing. If you go on Twitter, you're gonna find them. They're out and about, and they're not hiding at all. They're like they're everywhere basically. It's a very strange time to be alive. I wonder what the what Twitter should be doing to kind of staunch the bleed. I don't even know. But yeah, if you go to Twitter and you search for like map or non-MAP, you're gonna get a lot of accounts. So these people put it's almost like their gender pronouns in their fucking descriptions. I was kind of hoping that it was an op, but I don't think it is. I think this is almost 100% real and authentic, and only a little bit of it is an op, because there's always going to be someone out there that's just role playing. A lot of role players out there. But yeah, it's a weird time to be alive. I'm on Twitter, not on Tumblr. Well, you should go to Twitter sometimes. I'm sure there's the intersection between Twitter and Tumblr is huge. I'm almost like 100% sure, because I believe that they're actually getting yeeted off of Tumblr, because you can't have sexual content on Tumblr anymore. So a lot of these people are going to Twitter. This is usually what happens. Like, if it's always like a small advantage, right? And as long as if you have that small advantage, you can have like 100% of the market share. If it's almost like taxation is the power to kill. sort of in a nutshell. Basically, if you can levy a tax on a certain type of way of manufacturing something, someone who's not using that way of manufacturing is instantly, um, you know, a lot better off than someone who is, and eventually, you're just gonna have you're gonna have a state of affairs where that one guy or those that whole section gets removed from the economy. And this is kind of like it's called what type of content you can paste into Tumblr, for instance, there's huge communities that are going to be leaving or have already left, and so where are they going to go? And it's going to be the place where they can post it, and that's probably going to be Twitter. Twitter has no limits on adult content. So, yeah. Not anymore. They're cleaning it up. Yahoo is cleaning it up. It's a Christian website now. All the furries are getting yeeted. All the weird fetishists also getting yeeted off the website. Unless your adult content is conservative opinion, I would assume that politics is adult content. Yeah. At this point, I think what's it called? You're gonna. I feel like that's the next step. Remove this type of content from schools. Remove this type of content from. I feel like that might be incoming. Yeah, Twitter's pretty yeah, it's funny it only works like one way. That's kind of like the thing that kind of bothers me. Like I would like it to be fair, That's the most I can ask for, I think. Because again, both of these ideologies, they're like in conflict with my ideology, is status quo liberalism. I believe we are as the most free that we can be, I think. So yeah, so free that there are drawbacks to this almost radical freedom way of organizing society. I think Jack Dorsey is, he's incredibly honest. I think that's why he needs people like what was her name? I don't remember her name, but the lawyer that he had to represent him. She seemed fundamentally dishonest. Whereas Jack Dorsey comes off as, he's just a guy that stumbled into it. He is learning. He is making mistakes. And he's not. He definitely didn't set out to be a censor. That wasn't his goal. He didn't want to do any of this. He didn't ask for it, basically. And I wasn't talking about conservatives. I was definitely talking about like Nazi socialists, Nazbols, all these other groups of people, because there's a lot of those, and you can if you look even a little bit, you can find them, and yeah, there's a lot of them, I don't think most conservatives are against me. Uh, most of the time, um, uh, that's cool. Well, that's kind of like term, sure, yeah. Uh, I would say that there is a lot of like, and so the two ideologies that I was talking about were probably um, what's called the Democratic Socialists, Socialist Democrats, uh, that sort of party that they say they are, but they're actually communist, right? Uh, and there's a lot of crossover there, and I guess you could say it's a spectrum, but not one with a strong distinction that from where I'm standing. Um, so wait, there was a there was a let me see, there was a like the intellectual dark web. Whoa, intellectual dark web. Let me see if I can find. There's a spreadsheet of what people kind of believed in. And so these guys are mostly like mostly on the like the left, the American left, which is just basically liberal. They're basically liberal right. They're not left. Like compared to other countries, they're not against a um, market economy. They're capitalists, basically. So the left would want an abolition of of hierarchy, in a extreme degree. What I found funny about this though is Ben Shapiro's uh light conservative here, light conservative. So he's open to debate. He uh doesn't actually, as far as I can tell, he's basically not saying. But compared to Jordan Peterson, so Ben Shapiro is like more right than Jordan, I think, or at least well, from the graph, right? Green would be, um, green would be left, and red would be right, mostly. So Ben Shapiro has has a has is less conservative on climate change than Jordan Peterson. I thought this was like, why? And I think Ben Shapiro is being more fundamentally honest here. I think about um what's called what of being open to, I guess, the findings of, you know more empirical, um what's called or more empirical based study. He's willing to change his mind. Whereas Jordan, I think, is deep in the camp, right? And that just surprised me overall. But you see, mostly Jordan is left. Um, Whereas Ben Shapiro is mostly right. Although although believe in gun ownership should probably um, be a conservative line, and wealth inequality is a problem. It's interesting, like how the what's called um the breakdown is. Of course, Ben is going to be more conservative than the rest of these guys. Sam is Sam is almost he's on the side of liberalism, where it kind of bleeds into socialist democrat. Same thing with Eric, and Joe and Ruben are Ruben's lying. Ruben is a liar. This guy's a fucking liar. For sure. Because I've heard him say some shit like, well, we need to have a conversation with the like some of these people that he's brought on the show, which are like literally shills for the other side of the climate change debate. The what's it called, the that one dude that was literally a lawyer for one of these firms who writes books on one of these. When I say firms, I meant like the gas companies. So Ruben is Ruben believes what he's paid to believe. I believe. I think. Oh God, what's going on in chat? They aren't right wing no matter what the left says. Wait, no, they're literally the right wing. That's the whole point of being right wing. The thing is that the right wing of American politics is not really all that right wing. Just like the left wing is really not all that left wing. I mean, there are exceptions, you know, like Ron Paul, for instance, or Ocasio-Cortez. I love how they put abortion and choice together, as though murdering babies for your convenience is a choice option. Well, that's that's what people usually use as what's called the category. Like, are you pro-choice or are you pro-life? I guess there's no pro-abortion. I'm pro-abortion, technically. It's just you're like, yeah. There's no no ethical boundary to what's called. I feel like yeah, pre-birth is basically the line for me. That's or you know what? 24 weeks. 24 weeks pre-birth. I think. Yeah. There you go. This is a strong opinion. Strong opinion there. Based on science, though. Scientifically based. Murdering fetuses. Yeah, they're not babies. Not even babies. They're like babies. Babies would be a different category. I'm using the argument style of the left. Weaponize your opponent is evil. When you stare into the abyss, you become the abyss. So, you should not do that. Have you considered that every side is wrong? Oof. Oof. Fire Onyx, the radical outsidist. It's not even centrist, I guess. It wouldn't be the center. It wouldn't be the dialectic between the two sides, right? That's what the centrist is seeking, right? There's got to be a good solution that's coming from one side, or a bad solution that's coming from the other side, or maybe there's a little bit of both. So everyone's wrong is the radical anarchist side, I think, or I don't even know what to. What's called? Fetus is the earlier stage of human life. They're still humans. Nope. Disagree. No, no real scientific backing or anything. It's just your feelings. Facts don't care about your feelings. There's this guy who does a Ben Shapiro impression that I heard, and I was just like, I want to do this so badly. Ben Shapiro. Let me see. I think Ben retweeted it, actually. Test their DNA. I don't think DNA is a test for humanity. No. Disagree on your criteria. Also, if you use that as a criteria, then you would be saying something like, someone with Down syndrome, not human. DNA is different. Depends on where you draw the line, and that is actually the argument. It's where you draw the line for abortion. Okay. Let me see if I can find this. Ben Shapiro video. I thought that was really, really good. I wonder how Jordan became a, you know, how he's anti-science in this case. I don't know. I don't know how he got to that position. I wonder what his justifications are for being like on the super conservative side of climate change too. I think that's something that interests me because it's very strange to see like you know, some guy with like 20 positions that are just like fundamentally Democrat position, and then one position that's like, no, I actually believe this is the case here. Usually what you find there is either he has access to something that, you know, some set of facts that are either super right or super wrong. Can't seem to find the Ben Shapiro video. Wrong. You're actually wrong. Facts don't care about your feelings. Everything is wrong. Our dialect should not even exist. Do you mean like language? Is language referencing only language itself? I'm not sure I agree with that. So, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't. You're not saying anything. Like when you say we should survive, not destroy. There's it doesn't really like, as opposed to what, or like, not a real statement of, you know, anything really. Life is a lie. Also, not really understanding what you're saying. Life is a lie. Isn't what, like the we live in the Matrix or what? What you saying, bruh? Can't find the right words, not my language. Huh, well, alrighty. But yeah, I'm left just not understanding. Yeah, if you figure out what you wanted to say, you can always tell me. I'll listen. But you know, for the things that you did right, life is not really a lie. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. If there's anything we can be sure about, it's that consciousness is real. It's probably, you know, if we go back to Descartes, his principal claim is basically consciousness is the only thing you can be sure of. And it's a good bedrock to settle down on, because it's the most radically skeptical thing you could say. Everything else is false, you know. But this is real for sure. And then there's, you know, a series of unknowables, untestables. What we call life should not exist. I'm not sure what you mean by that. It doesn't really make much sense. We just destroy and destroy. Again, I really don't know what you're saying. Like rainforests, or destroy what exactly? Not really sure. Consciousness doesn't exist. I think it would be very hard pressed to prove that consciousness doesn't exist. What we call consciousness may be something different from what we expect. No, that you're still experiencing consciousness. There's no way to falsify it. No way to disprove it. Even if you say that you are a brain in a vat, or something to that, or we're all coma patients, you know, or you're a solipsist or something, you are still experiencing something that much is true, and it's a priori true. There's no way to falsify it, but it's impossible to disprove as well. So we are making just ideals to make life easier. But life is not supposed to be easy? You say that only humans have consciousness. Well, we definitely know that we are the only ones that have consciousness. For sure. We can't know whether whether anything else has consciousness. It's impossible to know. And the only reason that we know that we have consciousness is that we can communicate. It is definitely something like what it's like to be an animal of some sort. Like there's definitely a set of criteria for that, but there's no way to say that that's kind of what it's like to be a human. What we describe as consciousness. Many men believe that only humans think. Most likely we are the only ones that have cognition, yeah. In what's it called? You can definitely prove that we have cognition. I don't think you can prove any of the other animals, even primates, have cognition. It's not existential philosophy. It's a bunch of horseshit. Please don't fucking drag philosophy into this. So far, we haven't touched on any cornerstone of philosophy. To debase philosophy in this way is disgusting to me. Other animals think we can observe them doing it. No, not really. I don't know. Maybe write a what's it called? Write an article. I look forward to your Nobel Prize. Dolphins seem to have intelligence of some sort, right? Maybe. We're definitely not sure if they have consciousness because we can't tell. Yeah, I feel like you'd have to prove it to me. You can't just say like, oh yeah, dolphins definitely have consciousness. Dolphins definitely have cognition. Like, no. Like there's no way to say that. You could say it, but there's no like nothing backing it. So I could just hand wave it away, like can't even measure consciousness. That's true. You can't measure consciousness. You can only know that it exists. In that we are experiencing it. That's it. That's the only thing that's true. And you don't know what existential philosophy is, apparently, which is a shame. Can't even measure consciousness. I don't know if measurement is what we're trying to do. I think the tests are not measuring, they are confirming. So it's yes or no, rather than an amount of consciousness or some way of what's called. Our tests are like what the mirror test, for instance. You know, if a subject is aware of himself, you know, that kind of thing. How do you display without language, you know, that you are in fact aware, that you exist, that you have senses and you are analyzing the world around you. Everyone has a side of the brain that works differently. False. It's just not true. Boss, facts don't care about your feelings. That's wrong. Let me look up that fucking video. I think it was tweeted by the Daily Wire, but they have so many tweets right now that it's so difficult to what's it called? To look for it. I know Ben Shapiro retweeted it, but he also has too many fucking. Let me see if I can find this. Not sure which is more torturous, talking about this or this army training course on anti-terrorism. I would guess the latter because I have no experience of that. I am also sick. See if I can find this one video. Also, on the left, calling its opponents evil. The right does plenty of that. There's absolutely no shortage of history to confirm that. In fact, it's not even hard to find, you know, the right dehumanizing its opponents. That's literally like 60 years. Jim Crow. There you go. But yeah, if you want to pretend like, you know, we've moved away from that, then I guess you would have to give the commies the same sort of respect, right? The Democrats were the Republicans back then. They've changed sides. The names have changed, but the institutions are the same. So, you know, when someone says Lincoln freed the slaves, I believe I think the parties have changed about 2 or 3 times. Changed the names. Just the party swap of the 60s was a myth. No, it's not. It's literally true. Like, it's happened more than once. Is it a myth every time it happens? It's not strange for political parties to change, you know, diametrically. See you later, Fire Onyx. Enjoy your rest. Okay, fine. Let me Google this. Because I can't find the video that I'm looking for. Ben Shapiro. Man. I think Google is giving me oh, results for, okay, here. Yeah, it was auto-correcting me, but I actually do want to see Ben Shapiro, the video. Where is this? Man. Ben Shapiro, the Steam community. What? We need help, Ben Shapiro. Damn it. That's unfortunate. There's a really good video with a Ben Shapiro impersonator, but he's a frat house frat boy. And yeah. I'm going for an island. Dude, you can't go for an island. You're already on fire. Wrong. Facts don't care about your feelings. He does it really well. This guy. He even looks like Ben Shapiro. It's kind of eerie. I think I'll find it later. Share it with you guys on Discord if you're in the Discord, because it's definitely worth watching. Alrighty. That was definitely a second. Let me save one on my head. And maybe get some of this color palette. Oh. Yeah, I can imagine. With all the anti-terrorist trading. Oh, so it's like OSHA or some shit? Oh, yeah. Very boring. We got two food processing companies who sell food to the army and audit them for safety. Oh, gotcha. Pretty neat. Trying to make his mouth look more like a mouth. More mouth-like instead of not mouth-like. But yeah, I wonder what Fire Onyx meant. It sounded like she was watching, what's it called? What's his name? God, what was that guy's name? The British one. Gosh. It's good to come up with a lot of ideas, because then you can choose the best ones. Only write the good ones. That's what I do with paintings. I come up with a lot of ideas, and then I only do the good ones. Because a lot of ideas are just throwaways. they're not, good by any measure. Generation X, fuck it all attitude. Oh, I heard about this yesterday. Do you think she's clown pilled? Fucking guy comes into Discord. He's like, yeah, I'm actually clown pilled. I'm not even black pilled. I'm fucking clown pilled. And I was like, what the heck is clown pilling, man? Yeah, apparently it's when you actually do want to watch the world burn, and I think that's pretty bad. I don't think you should do that. I think that's a bad state of affairs. At that point, how can you have a conversation with someone that is clown pilled? In fact, so there's some there's some things that identify clown pilling as something that's not just what's it called? That makes it a distinct phenomena. He listed them for me. He said, and I don't know what he means by some of this, because he's for. Wait, let me Google this before I say it. Back. Okay, never mind. No, it's for accelerationism. This is kind of usually a lefty meme. Usually it's to force communism to become so bad that people have no choice but to revolt. Yeah, I thought it meant something else. Zizek says some things like this, actually. Maybe Zizek is clown pilled. Maybe that's what's going on here. Zizek was clown pilled all along. It makes sense because he makes all those jokes. Clowns are funny, and so. All you need to do is wait, and eventually communism will be so bad people will revolt. Yeah, it's kind of, I feel like this is very, I would say it's very, very, kind of like, this is, like, for me, that's the definition of controlled opposition. Like, this type of wishful thinking, that's what it is. Yeah, it's just gonna get so bad. I don't have to do anything to change anything at all. I can just sit by and watch it all burn. Because I'm a red-pilled, I'm sorry, clown-pilled fucking genius. Oh, watch it all burn. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, my dude. We're in late-stage capitalism already. It's happening. It's happening. God. Like, when the lefties say this, the true lefties, anarchists, anti-syndicalists, communists, sock dems, Nazbols. Far right becomes far left. National socialism is still fucking socialism. But yeah, this type of thing is like, when I look at it, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm good with that. You guys can sit around and do nothing. As a status quo capitalist, I'm all for cucks being cucks, and not actioning their, like, what I think are the ability to change the world for the worse. I'm okay with these clown-pilled assholes. think they have a right to exist. Nationalism is far right. It isn't. It's just the love of your nation, and anyone can do it. I would guess they mean that nationalism is historically right-wing, but that doesn't really make sense either, because you can have all sorts of nationalism that's left-wing. They would try to counter, I guess, with, well, we don't love the country, we love the people, or we love the ideology of, you know, communism or something like that. And they just paint on the wrong fucking. Yeah, I did. I just painted on the wrong image. I don't know why I'm painting it. No point in painting it. What the hell? I think my brain, what's it called? Yeah, I would prefer these people to remain inert and, you know, be clown pilled or whatever it is they are. Based in clown pill. That is assuming, though, that they're not actually doing things to make capitalism worse. Like, I guess there could be like someone like a high-powered capitalist that says, okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make it really bad so that people revolt. But man, that's a play. That's a play. I don't think that could. I don't think that could happen. Maybe. Oh wow, I can't zoom in, but it's all right. Let me flip this over. They keep working on their faces. I think that's where I'll spend the majority of today. Just their faces. Yeah, I always wonder about people that, you know, bite the hand that feeds them. It's always interesting. You know, like comedians against free speech. It's just, it's baffling. It's like an oxymoron that shouldn't exist. But yeah, a lot of people are just like, yeah, it's a really popular position to hold. I'm just gonna, you can make jokes, but nothing too spicy. because someone's feelings might get hurt. I heard this woman on Chapo Trap House. I think she's like the biggest waste of space there. She doesn't have any interesting insights, and like worst of all is that she's not funny. She said that, and this is her claim, that conservatives can't be funny, which I find it really interesting because she's not funny, and she has no access to there's a lot of funny comedians on the left and the right, so it's just really weird to hear her, because like she's sitting next to lefty comedians, right, and they're funny, right, but she's like, oh well, you know what, the other side, we can't meet.
Aaron, I do think there is space in the market for like a snarky lady blog, but from like a hard right-wing perspective.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I've thought about this a little bit. I think that conservatism is about like reinforcing the status quo. I mean, this is like this is not a joke. It's sort of about like reinforcing and maintaining, and comedy is.
So, she hits you with the small tidbit of truth, right? She's like, oh, I've thought about this a lot. I've thought about this a whole lot. That's usually that's kind of like the I don't know what to call it exactly. I don't know if there's a word for it, but this is the start of the con. Oh, and believe me, this is all true, right? I've thought about this a whole lot. Jordan Peterson does this. So this is when like if you listen past this uncritically, this is usually what it's supposed to do. It's like, oh, tell me what you've thought about for a whole lot. If you listen uncritically, that's where the magic happens. That's where you can get, I've thought about this a whole lot, and the earth is flat, and there's a lot of evidence. But usually they don't start with the strong claim, they start with the weak claim that's like banally true. Conservatism is about maintaining and what's called, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, you got me. I've thought about this a whole lot, and conservatism is about maintaining, and so that's the first, very banal claim. That's when you can have, I think, persuasion, is when you start with that grain of salt, that grain of truth, and that's how you persuade your audience. I think you start with 100% truth, and you knock the grade down as you go, up until you get to complete and utter bullshit. And I think the real hucksters have a really good measured way of doing this. They don't just do one banal claim. They hit you with a lot of stuff, and they get your trust, and that's kind of like you give them the trust certificate, and after that you're putty in their hands. So what does Aaron think about conservatives?
It's about challenging and undermining, and so they're just two diametrically opposed forces. Like, you can't be funny and actually culturally conservative.
But what if the status quo? What if the status quo, though, is just kind of bland liberalism? Can't you be a subversive radical?
Oh yeah, you can be a punk. You can be a punk. But I think, like, in order to make a joke, you have to challenge like hierarchies.
You have to challenge hierarchies. That's the only way to make a joke. This person doesn't understand comedy. It's plainly evident because, again, she's not funny. So this is the problem. She is the problem, and you can see kind of the sheepish attempts of the other hosts to kind of like bring her back from the brink. Just kind of like, come on, you're not really being fair here, and it's not really insightful, and it's not really a good point. You just kind of being a cunt. Can you tone it down a little bit? And she's like, no, I'm gonna go balls deep. I'm going deep on this, boys. Let me and every time she's on the podcast, she actually kind of ruins it for me. It's not even her voice; it's that she just dribbles on and on about nonsense bullshit. But that's just kind of like my opinion. I think she's just uninteresting.
But I think for the most part, like also like another thing is I think most conservatives that I know are sort of fearful of confronting liberalism like in a real way or engaging with like nuance, as are a lot of people on the far left.
Confronting liberalism from the conservative perspective, right? At this point, liberalism is basically a conservative position. Like, there's so much intermingling that someone that's conservative now grew up in like the 90s. That's basically it. And it's just like, like a Dave Rubin sort of thing, but actually, someone who is, pro gay marriage, pro abortion, but is also on the issues is like, yeah, but immigration should be treated seriously, or as we were treating it before, and we shouldn't just open the floodgates. That's a bad idea. That's super conservative, and yeah.
Well, they just confronted liberalism pretty fucking hard a week ago.
I mean, confronting it in a way that is necessary to make good comedy. In order to confront something to make good comedy, you have to develop a familiarity with it and understand, like, in Paris is Burning, when they talk about like doing a read or like throwing shade, you have to have enough familiarity to know where somebody is vulnerable or weak. You have to know what to make jokes about. Like, I cannot tell you how many fucking times I've gotten people on randos on Twitter being like, "Why don't you drink your latte a little harder?" And it's like,
and they were like, "Can you point me to the M&M store, please?"
Yeah. Hey, bitch, why don't you go mainline some Skittles? Or no, I don't. What are you talking about?
What are you?
See, it's just not funny. It's kind of just really boring, and I believe the laughter that the other hosts have is very nervous laughter. Like, oh wow, this is like this podcast now. Almost like 5 minutes of just dead air. I think it's sad. I'm gonna start a change.org petition to get her kicked off the show. No, I'm kidding. I don't really care. But no, I feel like someone who cares more about the podcast should probably do that. Because she's basically Yoko Ono, in my estimation. That's what she is. But yeah, there's plenty of conservatives that are very, very familiar with liberalism. In fact, most of the jokes are just, straw man of liberalism. It's like, oh, why don't you go kill some babies? Some shit like that, Like, I'm sorry to interrupt you from your baby murdering rituals, but here's what's it called? There's plenty of conservative like jokes that you could pick out, and they're funny. They're funny because they're built correctly. The comedy works. Like, the timing is right. There's might be a punchline. It might be a what's it called? Your expectations may be violated, which is kind of the theory of comedy. Like, if she got into comedy, like what do people think is why we laugh, why we find things funny. One of the prevailing theories is benign violation theory, and that is when they think they're gonna say something, but instead they say something else, or completely diametrically different. It's something like, I guess, a good example of this, I guess, is there's a British comic. Gosh, he looks like a very young boy. He does pretty dirty comedy. I can't remember his name, but he looks like a very well shaved young man. I can't he has this I think it's, I want to say Jimmy Carr. Is this? I want to say Jimmy Carr. I'm not absolutely sure his name. Jimmy Carr. I think his name. He has this weird hairdo, like Jimmy Neutron almost, and he's very British. He has this joke, which sounds something like, gosh, let me remember it. Jimmy Dore. No, I think it's Jimmy Carr. I'm almost sure. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah. It's this guy. He looks kind of like he looks like a young man, a young boy. Yeah, Jimmy Carr. Yeah, this guy. And he has a joke that sounds something like, there was a tragedy in Africa. Someone set up nets for. Oh wait, no, fuck, I fucked it up. Never mind. Jimmy Carr dirtiest joke. I'll let him tell it.
How do you make a gay fuck a woman? Shit in her cunt.
That's one of them, but that's not it. It was about nets in Africa preventing the millions of deaths of but he went with mosquitoes instead of malaria deaths. Malaria.
Have you seen my act? It's not that bad.
What is
the last 15 minutes?
What is the most offensive joke that you've ever written?
If only Africa had more mosquito nets, then every year we could save millions of mosquitoes from dying needlessly of AIDS.
There it is. So that's the benign violation. Thought he was gonna go with, millions of deaths from malaria, but no, he goes with the mosquitoes dying for me. So, yeah, none of that has anything to do with right or left politics. It doesn't have to do with challenging hierarchies. It has to do with your definitions of good. I guess like what would be a good thing, right? If we had more nets in Africa, and then from there you kind of you've already gone to the conclusion. You have like an a priori truth of what would nets do. You already assume the kind of the part of what the nets do, and they prevent deaths from malaria by killing off mosquitoes. He violates that by changing or challenging your expectation. But yeah, he's pretty funny. I would say that he handles hecklers in such a great way. There's actually like Jimmy Carr heckler compilations where he just shits on people in the audience, and I think that's pretty cool.
You go down to Times Square and look at the national debt clock, bitch.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is that the conservatives can't be funny for the simple reason that they get too mad. Like, if you ever look at any attempted comedy hashtags that Teacots try to get started, they always devolve into just incoherent shouting. It's like, enjoy your pumpkin spice latte, you lib, while you're eating a goddamn fetus, you murderer.
Yeah. Or it's like Steven Crowder, where he's like, I'm about to reveal the liberal double standard by putting on a dress and sucking my friend's dick. That's not comedy. You just wanted to do that.
Talking to somebody about.
See, so Crowder has some funny jokes. I don't usually say this, but he does have some funny jokes. He can set up a punchline. He's not so retarded that he can't do his job, which is being a comic. Some of it is pretty like heavily pasted on. But yeah, the what's it called, the implication that just like they just get so mad. I would say that there's plenty of conservative comedians, and to deny them their conservatism is basically saying like, oh well, our side is the only one that has access to comedy because we're good and special. They're not picking apart the phenomena. They're not engaging with what is comedy and what so I found that funny because they are comedians, except Aaron, who isn't funny, and she started the conversation, and the pushback did happen, so whatever. Seemed like I don't know. She's kind of not that smart. Just putting that out there. I think anger is a legitimate form of comedy, actually. I think you can get a lot of places with anger in the comedic world. There's one comic that actually literally yells at his audience. Can't remember his name, but it's not super funny, but he is very platform. People find his jokes funny.
About Milo one time, and they were like, "Oh,
Milo. His name is Milo.
His name is jerk off motion in the air. That's his name. He's always coming up with these like hilarious stunts where I'm bathing in pig blood. Take that, libtards!" And it's just
Milo's pretty funny. It's very difficult to say that he's not. He's got a lot of funny jokes. The reason why he's so popular. And it's funny that they haven't claimed him as a leftist, because if you look at Milo's earlier work, and Milo is an opportunist, just like most of good comedians, they don't they don't really pick a side. They pick a trajectory. So yeah, Milo is a comedian. He's what is being a comedian? If you've ever seen his lectures, it's mostly jokes, and this is a technique of persuasion. I believe it's one that is incredibly useful. This is why you have 6 nighttime comics like doing nighttime talk shows, because as a method of persuasion, comedy is incredibly powerful. He's a political commentator I don't think he's a legitimate political commentator. He's not like I don't know, Glenn Beck or something. Glenn Beck is pretty funny when you're laughing at him. He's kind of hilarious because he's like he runs around the stage and he puts up diagrams, and like to anyone looking at this, they would understand that he's just kind of like an insane infomercial salesman or some shit like that. That's a lot of money some shit like that. But he is a political commentator. That's what he is. That's his job. Milo's more of like a comedian. I think he's not. He's political opportunist. He's a writer, and he's legitimate. Well, I mean, like, the definition is useless then. If you're saying everyone's a political commentator, then there's no reason to call anyone and like saying political commentator. Like, there's nothing behind those words, right? Like, you're a political commentator. Everyone's a political commentator. Then it no longer becomes, if there's a hierarchy of definitions of like meaning, like what is meaningful about you, then what's it called? If you say that, well, like, yeah, well, I'm a sheep farmer, but I'm also a political commentator. There's like the words lose their meaning. I think words have to have, a strong enough meaning. A is not B. B is not A, right? In a hierarchy of identities, I think Milo is more of a comedian than a political commentator, whereas Bill O'Reilly is more of a political commentator than a comedian. So, I view Milo Yiannopoulos as an opportunist. He's very funny, and he's able to play the crowd and play his interviewers very, very aptly. So yeah, he's
just it's not funny. Like, it'd be funnier. Here's a good joke for air jerk off motion man. It would be funnier if he like were to pretend that he was going to identify as a woman, then pretend to be pregnant, and then crowdfund for his own imaginary abortion. That would be fucking funny. But he's not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. She always misses the point, and you could hear it, like the nervous laughter of one guy instead of, because usually there's the podcast is filled with jubilation, it's filled with levity, and what's it called, like when the joke is funny, everybody laughs. That's just kind of how it is. So when she's saying like I can write better jokes than Milo, and then she proceeds to demonstrate that she can't. I don't know, because there is a joke in there. She's right that crowdfunding your abortion as a transgender sounds like an interesting what's it called, premise. But she fumbles it pretty hard.
Because he doesn't understand how to needle things because he's not familiar enough with the left to actually make a good joke.
Well, he might just
again. So he makes his living on shitting on the left. It's kind of funny that she fails to recognize this. I can only assume it's because she really wants her sacred cow to be left alone. No one ever makes fun of the left. No one ever makes fun of just Marx. It never happens. It's too serious. There's good ways of doing it. Here, let me try. And then what's it called? I don't know. It's kind of strange that they let her on. To be honest, she's more annoying than insightful or funny or any redeeming quality. I've only watched a couple of the Chapel Trap House episodes, but it's very good stuff. I highly recommend this podcast. I think it's incredibly funny. They have a very broad range of topics, and it's almost always funny. And yeah, but this person is meh. One second. But yeah, I think there's not a lot of smart, funny podcasts out there. You know, when I find one, I gotta endorse it. They're more left wing than right wing. And by left wing, I mean legitimately left, not a Bill Maher type of comedian, I think. Mr. Chapo. I actually haven't learned the names yet. I think one is, but I followed them on Twitter. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Very funny guys. Yeah, I think they do a good job of pulling out some of the craziness of modernity, and they do it in a smart. Because if you do it in a dumb way, that's when you get the police at your doorstep, at your Twitter page. It's actually kind of kind of interesting. But yeah, I think anytime you pretend like your side has access to something as broad as comedy, you're bound to just fall on your own face. And the good news is there's like 400 episodes, and yeah, most of them are funny. So as podcast format goes, I think it's incredibly difficult to keep it fresh, keep it funny. You have to have a certain set of skills. I think that meme has a name. I think it's like Rolling Stone or Goldstone. Can't have people Twitter harassing if you don't have a Twitter account. Well, that's one way to think about it. Yeah. I think I think they'll find a way. They'll just they'll add your what your name would be. You'll become a hashtag instead of becoming what's called. They were very angry. So you could achieve internet Twitter fame without actually having a Twitter account. I think that's a possibility. But yeah, I would encourage you to go through Roseanne Barr's conversation with Dave Rubin and tell me if she's just, and again, like I think I've watched a couple episodes of I forgot what it's called even. Ted Bundy or something. I forgot the name of the show, but I used to watch a lot of television on like Fox, WB. I think I caught a couple episodes. That was okay. It's kind of funny. Yeah, her show. What was it? Roseanne, I think, right? It was Roseanne. It was just her name, literally. I don't know if being a comedian drives you insane. I think it's. I think it might be. she's a politician though. She's like a serious politician, isn't she? She's pretty big in Hawaii. What was that? But this is insane. Like, we have to stop electing television personalities. There's a lot of trouble looming if we keep going this way. Pretty sure she's like a senator, isn't she? Hold on. I think she ran, at least. Roseanne Barr. I think she had a good run. I think that was what. Oh, she blocked me. I can't tell. Let me see. She is a politician. Let me go down. She had a political president. She went on a presidential campaign. I guess she lost the Green Party nomination in the controlled opposition. I don't know. I was led to believe that she had a fucking she was running in Honolulu. Perhaps I was what's it called mistaken there. Yeah, Roseanne. Right, support for Donald Trump. The Peace and Freedom Party. Have you ever heard anything more like fucking definitely evil? Just like it's the People's Republic of the National Democratic People's Republic fucking Party or some shit like that. The Peace and Freedom. It's like, what do they mean? Oh god. Ralph Nader. Oh, it's Green Party stuff. Man, the Green Party is not gonna do it. Come on, guys. Not gonna work. Let me see if Roseanne Barr ever ran for senator. Who's it? Huh? No, she says some great crazy shit. We have Hamas in fucking Congress. Holy shit, dude. House of Representatives. God, I could swear that she was prepping for something in Hawaii, but guess not. Guess it was just a presidential run. I guess maybe I misheard it, and it was a presidential run from Hawaii, and I interpreted it as like insane. Like, why would Roseanne Barr run for presidency? And I was like, okay, it must have been like something minor, like governorship or something. But it was actually just the presidency. Yeah, just a strong candidate, Roseanne Barr. Okay. She's yeah, I you know, the long form conversation is very well. It's a good way of having a lens into someone's like sanity, I guess. And yeah, This is like the one time Ruben accidentally did his job. And he brought out the craziness. Although, you know, she probably says really crazy shit all the time. So we have Hamas in Congress. Come on. You can't. That's a little that's a little insane. I actually don't know who's running for presidents from the Democratic side. Could be. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be Biden. Biden, maybe Kamala Harris. I don't know who are the strong Democratic frontrunners. Yeah, a congresswoman who Hamas supporters? I doubt that very much. Let me see. Let me Google that. Congress support Hamas. Let me see. Let me fact check this claim. Trump is already tweeting memes at Biden. I find this kind of hilarious, but I also find it kind of incredibly sad. I don't actually think that Trump's media team should be tweeting memes. I'd vote for Warren, I guess. Cory Booker sounds like what's it called? I don't know. It's always going to be like a career politician. I would rather it be someone who's experienced. I don't think Trump got much done in his tenure at what's it called? In the political court. I think Elizabeth Warren is a shrewd opportunist. I don't know. I think she knows how to play the game. And we've had an outsider for 2 years, you know. It didn't really work out. Yeah, I don't see any open. Ilhan Omar to speak with at a banquet for a group. Yeah, I haven't really seen. Yeah, I haven't really seen I haven't really seen any what's called open tweet pro Hamas. Let me see. I'm struggling to find. The only thing that I found was that she was going to speak at a fundraiser that was supposedly linked to Hezbollah, but and someone has a photograph with pro Hezbollah, which is kind of like Hillary Clinton has one with the like one of the Grand Wizards or some shit like that. Rashida Tlaib, Council for American Islamic Relations. They support terrorism. Again, highly unsubstantiated. Yeah, I don't really see it. I don't really see the pro Hamas. Unless we're equating like Palestine to Hamas.
After I realized that.
yeah, I don't see anything outside of super right wing or super Israel based sources that like seem to be misconstruing. Yeah, I don't see. I doubt that. Anyone could have any tenure in Congress and also say like, "Hey, I support Hamas." I really doubt that. um, yeah, don't think so. It's kind of outside of the scope of what you would be allowed to say if you wanted to do your job. Yeah. I think they would. I think they would find no. I don't think. I don't think you can even say you're pro-Palestine as a congressperson. I. I don't think anyone is putting forth a two-state solution at this point. I don't think that's on the table. I think it was like in the 90s and 80s that you could still hear about these positions, but they're no longer in you know kind of like the purview of it's like there's definitely no one pushing for this sort of thing. I think the closest you'll get to a pro-Palestine position would be something like Obama saying that Palestine is one of the most oppressed, some of the most oppressed people in the world. That was during his political run, campaign Obama, not President Obama. So there's a very big difference. What you could say on the campaign trail, I'm going to build a wall, and what you can actually do in what what your positions will become as soon as you're elected. A whole lot of wall. It's just it's being built. So yeah. Yeah, I think as soon as you endorse Al Qaeda, Hamas, you would get kicked out. You wouldn't even get you wouldn't even you would be impeached for treason. It would just be that. Yeah, I think if that organization, that fundraising organization, was actually tied with terrorism, I think they would have acted upon it. I think there would be, because America takes a very hard stance on terrorism. I think we've got that part figured out. There's no ambiguity. Like, well, we don't know. It's like we got to have a conversation here. There's absolutely no ambiguity in political discourse in America. It's though I think one guy, I think Ron Paul once brought up, the blowback as an actual thing, and he he paid for it. So anyone who legitimizes terrorism gets nuked just instantly. And that's good. We don't really need representatives that don't understand that this is not okay. It's not something you can have a conversation. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, it would be it'd be very interesting to see the one politician that was able to kind of escape this. You know, it's like, yeah, I actually, I'm pro Hamas. I'm just gonna be a legislator in America. Yeah, I think I'd like to see that. I mean, she could hold these views in secret, but at that point, it's like, at that point, you might as well call her a Nazi. Secretly, Muslim supremacist, Hamas supporter. Doubt it. I just always think of, what is the farthest boundary that one of the sides could push? And it's like, well, if you got your dick sucked in the Oval Office and you could get kicked out of your seat for that, I feel like an open support for terrorism would be like, it just wouldn't even. I support you would get ham out, I think, and then past that you would just be you'd just be gone. You would hear about it on the news. Senator indicted for their staunch support of ham. No support. That was a mistake. I'm just fleshing out his legs now. Yeah, I feel you again. Can't ignore the work. I am more Native American than she is. 164th. Yeah, I feel like you're still a Native American. I think in partly, I think all these arguments, based on identity are useless though. Like, I would say, yeah, you are Native American. And so what? You're just an American citizen to me. I don't think you have even as, you know, the history, there's a very deep history in America. But I don't think it can be changed. I think we're just there's as much as like there's like as much as the history is, you know, it's real. There's not really much you can do about it at this point. Yeah, I think I think I think we should all embrace the only identity I think that is necessary for, you know, for strong cohesion is, you know, the identity of I'm an American. You know, it's a powerful identity, and it's very meaningful. I don't know why we've stopped using this identity. I think it's bad that you know, it's kind of become a almost like a disgrace to be proud to be an American. I think that's not great. And there's plenty of people that certainly view it this way. I don't think you have to be a nationalist to love your country. I think you can be a patriot. And the distinction is that, you know, I don't know if it's a very meaningful distinction. Because to me, when you say like we are the best, we're a great country, we are the best country, you know, you're creating a category and you're saying, well, you know, there's got to be worse countries than us. So it is a point of pride, and it is kind of a almost a language game. It's like, oh, I'm not a nationalist, I'm a patriot. I think there's I think there's good parts of nationalism and there's bad parts of nationalism. Or patriotism. You want to call it patriotism? Call it patriotism. I think that's a less dirty word. There's less emotional context or emotional conjugation to it. I think it's important to, you know, to at least, at the very least, understand where you came from and why you were allowed to like flourish. What allowed you to flourish, really? And people who think that, oh well, you know, capitalism, you know, ruined my life, they're almost indefinitely wrong. Because the counterfactual to that is living in Venezuela, something like that. It just wouldn't be a good, wouldn't be a good time. It'd be a much worse time than, you know, being a wage slave or whatever, whatever these people are complaining about. Like there's a very big difference. You prove my word. Yeah, well, this is kind of like there's nationalism has been demonized since National Socialism. You know, why do we have different sets of words that mean basically the same thing? You know, because the Nazis exist. We want to move ourselves away from, you know, a love of country without, you know, the excess, which is probably impossible. 50s Americans were highly nationalistic. Well, yeah, so I mean, it's generational change. This doesn't, like, anything that you introduce as like, okay, we're gonna teach the kids this. It takes a whole generation for it to actually become like common sense and truth, you know. So yeah, 50s Americans, sure, but I don't know. There's a host of a host of problems with the word nationalism. I think patriotism is now a bad word too. Yeah, well, there is a problem of Vietnam. You know, going into Vietnam, all these proxy wars. There's legitimate criticism. You know, lying to, like, what is the what is the New York Times and gosh, what was it called? The Washington Post famous? It's their, you know, it's their coverage of Vietnam. Their willingness to publish, and this is freedom of speech. This is what freedom of speech is about. When you say, well, okay, well, you know, maybe we shouldn't publish documents that are hurtful to the American government because they're mad and they're gonna feel very sad. Also, Vietnam was a series of mistakes. You can take that to the bank. So yeah, I feel like there has been quite a few quite a few things that have happened that have made patriotism kind of bad meaning. Patriotism or nationalism. I mean, nationalism was always a bad word because of National Socialism. You know? So in my growing up, the conjugation was already in effect. Like this wasn't debatable. Nationalism bad. These other countries, they have nationalism. We don't have nationalism. We have patriotism. This was always kind of like, this is the set of words that I was taught to operate under, like if during history class, you know. So it was already this was already like a thing, but now I feel like patriotism is also in that same basket now. Like you can't be patriotic. You can't have a love of country that, you know, the ideal love of country, the one without the excesses, where you don't try to justify, anything that the country does, right? Even that is kind of this weirdly, weirdly ostracized. And you could see it in like this change kind of happen, because maybe you've heard of this set of words. Why do you hate our troops? This used to be a very powerful, statement. You could actually, like, this is like one of the clickbait statements that was like huge 2000. Like they would get you on a show and they would hit you with it, like as soon as you said anything anti-American, they would hit you with, well, why do you hate our troops? Because Iraq was a very hot topic. So yeah, I do feel like do feel like a lot of these people, they they've been taught to hate America. And, anyone who likes, capitalism or America, our way of doing things, is being just slowly removed from public dialogue. That's not a great that's not a great thing. I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm more patriotic than this guy or something like that. No, I'm just saying that, like, saying you're a patriot comes with the very onerous sort of set of things that you have to defend. As soon as you say I'm a patriot, and the clapback is instant. What about the foreign wars? So I don't know. I basically I'm with Hitchens. In my estimation, the U.S. has fucked up a lot of things, but the intentions were good. There's yeah, everyone kind of shit talks the Iraq War, but everyone was on board. You all co-signed this, like, so, like, mistakes were made on all sides. There's no, like, I don't think the far left is as like coercive and as powerful as you make them out to be. I think there's a there's a series of not far left, reasonably left people that have kind of made it impossible to say something like, oh, well, yes, we it's a lot, we've done a lot of bad shit. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. We're gonna try not to do it again, Yeah, the Iraq War is a quagmire. Is a quagmire. Removing Saddam was probably necessary. The thing is, though, removing Saddam with no alternative was a gross miscalculation. Pulling out, and this is like probably controversial, pulling out without, without solidifying some sort of power structure has led to, like, you could say, oh, well, you wanted us to stay in there forever? Like, everyone was for pulling out, right? Creating that vacuum was a mess. We should have established a power structure. We should have established a power structure with the help of allies. Like, look, World War II, you went into Germany, or Soviet Russia. You went into Soviet Russia. America rebuilt these countries. They helped them rebuild. Japan. This is what America was known for. They bombed the shit out of these people, and then they helped them rebuild. This is kind of the joke. Back in like the 80s. This is what you would hear from. But yeah, we should have we couldn't, like, there was it was super easy to predict that probably there were already people like making this prediction that like, okay, well, if we leave now, this isn't gonna be good. This is gonna be really bad. Because there's always someone, you know, taking the counter position, right? So yeah, that was a big fuck up. You know, in retrospect, I don't know if there was anything we could have done, but yeah, pulling out without establishing a hierarchy. We did just make a mess. We did just make a mess. And we didn't learn from it. Yeah, it's also the problem. Like Libya was another mistake. At some point, you can't just say that like, oh well, you know, just a huge list of shit we fucked up. Syria, probably not gonna be a mistake. I've heard people say, I've heard people say, you know, we've learned from we've learned from Iraq, we've learned from Libya. If we destabilize the country, this time we're not gonna just pull out and leave a power vac. So I don't know. Yeah, I do think you can there's a you know a really great, really easy like worldview there. You could look at the United States as just being evil. It's pretty easy. Because all the lines are so easy to connect. I don't think I'm not sure like if that was possible at the time. Like everyone voted for it, you know. They're just like no one had this insight. What could have been prevented, I think, was not leaving Iraq in shambles and allowing for something like ISIS. Also, you know, something that would require foresight for. But I feel like that was like a possible. Whereas going into Iraq was just like, yeah, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna go into Afghanistan too. Remove Saddam. Sorry. Why did we go into Afghanistan again? Oh, right. Well, I mean, look. Yeah, we had to remove what's it called? We had to remove Saddam. That's kind of like having a missile in your front yard. The problem is that we didn't. We really should have, I guess, with perfect foresight, rebuilt Iraq. But yeah, we went into Afghanistan because the terrorists. Yeah. Yeah. Iraq was a mistake. Sure. Afghanistan was a mistake. In retrospect. Like, we shouldn't have established our democracy, but, you know, perhaps if we worked with regional powers, we could have prevented ISIS. I'm not saying it would have been the perfect thing, right? But everyone wanted out. It was like Vietnam, I think. I wasn't alive for Vietnam, but I could imagine that it was very similar. Everybody wanted to get out. So, yeah, I'm kind of hoping for that we don't repeat Iraq, even though we are in Syria. We are trying to destabilize the government, right? Is that not the case? So yeah, all this kind of like leads people to say, well, I really can't be a patriot. Just refresh, my dude. That'll clear it up. So I don't know if it's the far left doing this. I don't even know if the far right we're saying something like, well, you know, we're patriots. I don't think the far right are patriots either. I think they want to change in a government. I think the far right has lost all confidence in the government. They believe that it is it's run by a cabal, conspiracy, and yeah, there's definitely groups in the far right that are gaining a lot of power, and they're not as influential, I think. And neither are the far left, which is good. You know, I don't like these people. I think they don't deserve to tell us how to live our lives. I don't think they have anything that comes close to a good set of ethics that, you know, gets us to good outcomes. It's just not. They're also not great. I think there's a very strong need for the liberal elite to stand up and say, you know, nah, my dudes, we're not doing this. Yeah, that's it. Fortunately, there's a lot of sympathy towards communism. That sort of those sets of ideology. That's not great. But yeah, gamers need to rise up. Then everything will be fixed. Gamers rise up. But yeah, hopefully that wasn't too political. Just talking about history, I guess Iraq War would be history now, right? Through the lens of politics. Historical. I definitely think that had we stayed in Iraq, right, there's always got to be like a counterfactual. I think a lot of a lot of world powers would kind of move against us, because we're solidifying a power base in Middle East. Not sure how Russia, China, Iran feel about that. Probably better if they knew that it's going to be a good way of getting rid of ISIS. Alright, got his hammer a little bit more. Yeah, from the book cover size, probably look okay. But yeah, still some work to be done. I want to finish up his face. Keep working on some of the clothing rendering, some of this, some of that. I don't think. Let me flip this over. Take a look. No, maybe not. Some small improvements. I'll probably have to bring back the light a little bit on his face, so the details are more fleshed out. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I fixed the perspective a little bit, I think, on this thing. Still gotta work on that. Made him look a little bit less dumb. I think he looked pretty dumb before, but now he's looking a little bit more fleshed out. Kind of looks like she's grabbing his ass right now. I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna calculate out where I want to put the hand. It'll probably be like around here. And yeah, probably be like, I'll probably do another layer, and I'll be like, okay, well, here's the forearm. You know, it's probably gonna be around her thigh. It's probably gonna be here. I actually leave that in. Oh, but no, not gonna leave that in, because that's not a new layer. Gotta make a new layer real quick. It's about where her leg is. I think it'll be around here. think I will. I'll do that. Probably gonna be around there. Maybe a little bit higher up. But yeah, tomorrow, I'll work on the other piece I'm working on, because I am a little bit sick, but I do have to get this done. So I'll work on that tomorrow, and today, close on that. And yeah, hopefully I get unsick, and I can really red pill you on the on what the political leaders have fucked up and why I'm right and they're wrong. But yeah, gonna cut it short. Thank you guys for coming. Future. See you all tomorrow.